Let's now dig into what we've just heard. Let's welcome a 24-year member of the CIA clandestine service, a former CIA station chief, and a leader of emergency deployments for the Counterterrorism Center. Let's welcome back to MidPoint, Gary Berntsen. Gary, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be with you today, Ed.
Gary, have you had a chance to watch this then from the beginning?
Yes, I did. I've watched the entire speech from Director Brennan.
Your initial reaction then, because I certainly heard things such as there are minority views, specifically speaking to what the Intelligence Committee said and saying that the process was flawed yet sound. What did you think of what the director said?
I think that Brennan, first off, has given an excellent presentation because what he did was he provided the context under which these decisions were made, and then he's walked sort of a middle road here. He's walking the middle road, sort of saying there were threats, these were our actions. He's stated actually in the question period that the Department of Justice reviewed, there will be no prosecution where those are trying to get him to admit that the CIA tortured people. He really is walking a fine line pretty capably. He's also he's been non-committal in terms of there's a group of people out there that want to, there's two issues here. The first issue is, was the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, did they achieve some effect? That's the first question. And the second question is, did they amount to torture? And in the first part of it, he's saying, well, it's unknowable. He was saying that it's unknowable whether or not they achieved, whether through other means that they could have.
Isn't that fair to say, though? Because basically what you're asking somebody to do is look into a crystal ball here and say, if we had done something else, would it have been useful?
Yeah, so he's saying that it provided information that was useful, and it's unknowable if that information could have been achieved some other way. So it's in support of the program. At the same time, he's admitting mistakes. He's saying we're not going to do it again, and that there'll be no prosecution. So, I'm not sure he's going to please everybody, but he is walking a very, very fine line, very capably.
All right, Gary. Now, you perhaps don't have to walk such a fine line here, maybe in some ways, so I'm going to ask you this. The one thing that is coming out of this that I keep hearing is he proclaims that there was valuable intelligence that was obtained through the use of EITs, enhanced interrogation techniques. He said the program produced useful intelligence. The Senate Intelligence Committee report says that is not true, and there are people saying the CIA is lying. Who's telling the truth here?
Well, Brennan has stated right there that he did not agree with the Senate's response. He also stated that it was not a bipartisan report, as other reports had been in the past that were useful SSC CI products, and that he wouldn't come out and state that he wouldn't give his recommendation to the president. He was careful about his own opinion there, but it's clear that he was opposed to the process. He's the director of CIA. He was in the number 4 position during the time of this program, and he did come down, but ever so carefully did he say that the program was useful. But at the same time, he's admitted that some of the officers went out of the bounds of the parameters under which they were supposed to operate, and that others did a very, very good job. So, he's trying to please all sides here with a little bit of something.
Is it fair to say, I only got about a minute left, so let me interrupt you for a second. Minute left real quick here. Is the most important thing to take away from this that he is trying to get through here is what he said with regard to the intelligence and the interrogation. The people of the CIA, quote, did what they were asked to do in service of their nation. That speaks to me as the one thing he's saying. We were asked. It was legal when we were told to do it. We simply did what the president, and not only the president, but lawmakers asked us to do.
He is saying that, and he's also trying to keep his job at the same time, and because there are Democrats that are calling for his dismissal. And I think he succeeded. I think you're going to find that he will have succeeded at both at the end of the day.
There's no doubt.
I don't think we want Brennan replaced at this point. He does have the confidence of the president, and you're not going to get anybody any better than him right now from this administration.
Yeah, there's no doubt in your mind that what he is also trying to do here is trying not to anger Congress. That's what I hear coming through.
Correct. I agree with you on that point.
All right, so we'll wait and see what happens. Gary, I know we're going to be talking an awful lot here in the next few weeks and months because this story is not going away. I thank you so much for hanging on. I appreciate your time and your comments, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Great pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. Again, John Brennan, the director of the CIA, is still involved in taking questions at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. please let me impress upon you that being in Langley, Virginia, having reporters there and having this kind of a press conference is historic in itself, simply because the CIA rarely talks to reporters and rarely has this kind of a public hand-wringing, if you will, to make sure that they can stay on the side of Congress, yet explain exactly what they did. We will continue to follow the story as the day moves on. Stay with us. MidPoint, where we question everything, continues.